If you're looking for a really clean, pristine compressor, this is not the video for you. If you're looking for a compressor that has infinite control over every single parameter, attack, release, ratio, this video is not for you. If you're looking for a really characterful, colourful compressor that you can really smash stuff with, or you can go kind of light, but importantly doesn't destroy transients, clamps down on stuff naturally and gives you massive sustain, I've got something to show you. This is the Kit Plugins BB N54. Let's check it out. So a few examples there of how I like to use it. I'm really favouring this on drums. I'm recording a track at the moment and kind of mixing it as I go, and I haven't got to vocals yet. So I haven't even tried it on vocals. I'm led to believe it's quite cool, but drums, this is where I am at the moment. This is where I'm finding this so useful. You heard the examples a moment ago, but let's just dig into this on the drum bus, because I find this to be a real character machine and a real kind of sustain machine as well. And you can go completely over the top wild with this without really losing the transients, and the mix control is really important. So this is the settings, I think, that you just heard on the demo. Let's take a look at how we can actually affect this though, because what we have in this plugin, okay, let's just do a rundown. We've got a limiter and we've got a compressor. We can turn the limiter off, we can have it as slow, we can have it as fast. Compressor, we can turn it off, we can have it as slow, we can have it as fast. So that's kind of just the attack. So it's either slow or it's fast. Then with the compressor ratio, we've got 1.5 to 1, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 6 to 1, and then vintage mode. And vintage mode is on the original hardware, so the Neve, I think it's a 2254, ratios were not precise. It was not to say that, like, if you chose 4 to 1 ratio, it was going to be exactly mathematically 4 to 1. And that's fine. In software, we tend to make them a little bit more precise, but if you want to, then you can click that vintage button and that's going to make it so that it was true to the original, which is a nice little addition. Then we've got the compressor threshold, which is an interesting one. We're going to take a look at that. And we've got compressor and limiter recovery. Now these are kind of on constants. So you've got 100 milliseconds, 200 and 800 milliseconds on the limiter. On the compressor, 400 and 800 milliseconds, and then 1.5 seconds. And then you've got auto mode on both of them. We're going to take a look at those as well. What I find this good for is really just making it sound colourful and really making it so that we're bringing up loads and loads of sustain, especially on drum bus. This is where I'm really favouring it. Let's take a listen and just check out the snare when we bring this compressor in. So I'll start with it off, and we're only at 50% mix at the moment. Okay, so you can see we've got an input control here. We've got an output control, sorry, a meter, not control. And then this is like our gain reduction. You can hear what effect it's having on the sound, but look at how much gain reduction is actually taking place. barely even 2 dB of gain reduction. It's being really gentle on the sound, but it's adding so much character. This ratio is at 1.5 to 1 at the moment. Let's just bring that up in steps and just hear what effect it's going to have on the sound. Now remember, I've got this mix at 57%, so we're not going crazy at the moment. Shortly we're going to bring that up and just see exactly what it's doing, but just see what effect this is having as I bring that ratio up. So at 3 to 1, it's a little grabbier. Let's go from 2 to 3 again. Yeah, you can see it's just kind of reaching 2 dB of gain reduction there. So at that point, at 6 to 1, it's not an extreme ratio, but it's pretty high. We're losing a little bit of that bottom end, and this is where the sidechain filter is really useful. So I've got this up at 189 Hertz anyway, because I've found that this compressor, it can really clamp down on that bottom end. So the sidechain filter is incredibly important. Let's just go to that 3 to 1, because I found that to be quite grabby, quite kind of nice. Let's bring this mix all the way down and then gradually bring it up, and we'll just hear the sustain come up. We're not really going to hear the transients come down all that much. Everything's just going to get a bit more solid, and the sustain is just going to come up. It's nice. Okay, so we're adding a bit of level there as well. So let's just take that off and see if we can just kind of get this so it's like for like. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. It adds loads of sustain. It adds loads of coloration. It just solidifies stuff without actually clamping down too much. So the limit in, as it's called, I think this is the signal going into the limiter. And this just gives you the opportunity to make everything like unbelievably smashy. So I've got the threshold on the compressor up at 0 at the moment. So we're not really chopping too much off. Let's shove a load of signal into the limiter and see what we get. And then we're going to bring down the output just to kind of rectify that. That's getting really punchy on the kick and snare when we go to slow on the limiter attack. And that's really poppy and really smashy on the kick and snare. Let's go to, I think I like that on slow. Let's go to the compressor and take over to slow now. Yeah, so to me, we're getting a sound that is now perfect for blending in parallel. It sounds amazing on its own, don't get me wrong, but this is the kind of sound that I can see working really nicely in parallel. So I'm going to bring this mix all the way down, and then we're going to start to bring it up and just hear where we get that punch and that pop come through. So by lengthening the release, we're going to be clamping down on stuff for longer, essentially. Auto is interesting on both of them, though. Let's take a listen to auto on both the limiter and the compressor. Yeah, so I kind of like the limit recovery and compressor recovery all the way down at the fastest setting. Auto is going to change depending on what the program material is coming in, but I kind of like this to be just clamping down on transients as much as it does, and just making it knock and then bringing that sustain up. And that's really what this is all about for me, having the limiter recovery and compressor recovery out as short as possible and bringing down the transient in a nice kind of, it is gentle way, but it's a slammy kind of way at the same time. It's kind of an oxymoron, isn't it? Nice gentle slam, but it's kind of inexplicable. It's exactly what it does. I find that the mix control, it's often somewhere between like 55 and 70 for me. I like to have a little bit of the original coming through, but the color this adds is just great. We can have it in unlinked mode as well. And when you do that, you see these knobs just here. We get like a trim for the left and right channel essentially. And then we have a mid-side mode as well, for which we also have the trim. So then this becomes the mid and this becomes the side. Super handy for if you're compressing a whole mix, or if you want to just slam down on like the kick and snare in the center and you want to leave the sides alone, then you can do that. An unlinked mode is going to make it so that if you change the left hand side, it doesn't change the right hand side. So let's say we just want to like slam down on the center channel a little bit more, and we want to make it so that the side channel is not quite as smashed, but we're just getting that knock out of the center. We'll just go to mid side. Nice, so we can just clamp down on the mid channel loads more than the side channel. It's nice to have that. It's nice to be able to do that. It's nice to be able to just have a little bit more control. So overall, yeah, it's cool. I like it. It's one of those that I don't really have many other compressors in my toolbox that do the same thing as this does. Regardless of like model numbers and what it's actually emulating. Like I've got some other compressors that do an emulation of a similar plugin, of a similar bit of hardware, sorry. But this just seems to add like a load of knock, a load of sustain, and that's the really important thing. It's not destroying transients, but those transients are just having so much punch added to them, and then the sustain is coming up underneath them. And to me, on a drum bus, it sounds great. I really like it. It can be gentle if you let it be. It can be super aggressive if you really slam it with this limiter, but I like having them both on slow and just letting it do its thing. I'll pop a link to it down below so you can go and check it out yourself. But yeah, there you go. The Kit Plugins BlackBird N54 compressor gets a thumbs up from me. I'll see you again soon. Take care.